more relevant question actually is, what is wrong with America?
The Democrats are the ones, they are the party that cares for the blue collar.
The 47th President of the United States.
It's the biggest red wave I've seen since Ronald Reagan's 49-state victory.
There were appeals to racism in this campaign, and there is racial bias in this country, and there is sexism in this country.
Trump, once again elected to the White House, leaders around the world congratulating him on his historic comeback. But there is one leader who apparently has no plans to congratulate him. Russia's Vladimir Putin, according to the Kremlin.
When asked the question about why hasn't Vladimir Putin congratulated President-elect Donald Trump, he said, let's not forget that we're talking about an unfriendly country that is both directly and indirectly involved in a war against our state.
We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy?
Absolutely was crazy. What an incredible night that was. We've had highs and lows since November, and right now I'm on a little bit of a high. As much as I'm still saddened by the loss of Charlie Kirk, I witnessed something phenomenal on Sunday. Something that I described on my late night Sunday culture show, the late night culture show on Sunday evenings. I described it as somber, but inspiring. It was a little bit of a revival and a little bit of remembrance. And it was a real healthy dose of what it is to be an American and what it is to be on the right side of history. That's right. Um, there's only one party that is on the right, according to some folks out there. In fact, the middle is now the right, and the libertarians are now the right. And often a lot of my friends over on on the former side of the Democrats, the actual liberals, the dyed in the wool normal folks. Yeah, they're now on the right too. So welcome to the right and the right side of history. Interestingly enough, there was some big conversations with the left side of the equation today. That's basically, well, the people that are letting their nations succumb to invaders, and that's happening around the globe. We had an interesting conversation because of Jim Jordan and a bunch of folks that were pushing Google to the limit, considering what they did was, well, reprehensible by censoring people on one side of the equation and admitting to it. They kowtowed and bowed to the Biden administration in a form of censorship, eliminating channels like my own, who did not actually break any rules. Fortunately, I was able to circumnavigate that using a lot of odd language that they were trying to hold strictly verboten when anybody from the right side of the equation utilized it. It doesn't happen or isn't supposed to happen anymore. It's odd because anecdotally this morning when I opened up my YouTube studio, I was greeted with a reintroduction to the all of the descriptives that were on my channel, telling me, this is where you know, monetize your content, things like that. All of the little prompting messages that you get when you're a brand new channel or you've arrived at a new goal. So keep that in mind. Um, I've got to tell you right now, um, I appreciate you. And for those of you who are on the red side of the equation or the green side of the equation. Welcome. It's good to see you. And to you, those of you on X, believe it or not, if you are watching on X right now, you can actually drill down on this particular item on X and watch the video version of this like you would on any other platform, along with its own chat box. And I do respond to people who chat on X as well. We've got a great bunch of people here. We've got a great bunch of mods here, but we've got a lot of stories to get to. So please excuse me as I take care of business, saying hello to everybody who showed up early, like Dragon Queen, who dropped a super chat, making sure that I know I'm blameless. It's all Vash's fault, which is true. Tomorrow's review may be delayed. Oh, due to things developing last night. I'm so sorry. It will not be what I said I would review. I'll talk about in the review. Hugs for all, and thank you, Dragon Queen, for working so hard to make material every day. And I promise you, I will be less Vash, and you don't have to blame me. A good hearty welcome and thank you to Juliet, who's working overtime across the pond in Europe, fighting with all kinds of things over there. For those of you also in the chat, like Mark Fields, we always have positive vibes, mostly because of Mark Fields, who says, positive vibes to you all. Have a beautiful day. You too, Mark, and much appreciated. Your sentiments are important. JPS is out there. We've got Mark Daly, who is here. It's great to see you. It's wonderful to see Mark Daly daily. Yes, yes. Caleb, thank you for the comments earlier on the videos today. We will return to actual videos tomorrow, provided StreamYard actually cooperates. So yeah, yay for that. We've got, of course, JPRPH1 in the chat. The amazing Penny, my way to Hooked on Missions Bible study right after. Awesome. Look, I gotta tell you, the amount of Bible apps I've been seeing floating around in various chats, I'm very proud that there's been an inspiration over the course of the last, I want to say 10 days now. Maybe it's more appropriate to use a bigger number because of what happened on the 10th. Let's say 12 days of inspiration for a lot of folks. Let's say that. And it's pretty easy to find your way back to faith when your faith is been put on display in the way that it has recently, in a positive way. Hey, Orlando, how are you doing, dear? It's been a minute. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for being out there, and I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you caught up indeed. Snort of Poopus Q Burr is out there. Jeff over on the green side of the equation. He's dropping truth bombs over there, let me tell you. Davina Duckworth is out there, and so many more. So, folks, if I didn't get to you during this portion, I promise you I will try to check in as we go through the stream. RH, welcome. Thanks for being here, and many more. We've got a lot to get to, so please forgive me as we hustle through the chat to say our hellos to Extreme Mean and Sin and our friend 11 Alpha. We've got stories after story after story, and they're not going to stop. I've got more clips than I can be able to use today. So over the course of the next hour and 45 minutes, let's dive in, shall we? Starting with our first story. CNN's got problems because, well, they're having to tell the truth. And one of the people they get to tell the truth outside of Scott Jennings is a guy that does polling. And you've probably seen this guy before. He's an excitable fellow. He bounces around as he drops facts in information and things that we desperately need out in the real world. And Hillis and Lightning Sketch, I promise I will get to you guys in just a moment. But let's jump into this clip and have a little conversation about it, because what the future holds now is what we'll see in 3.5 years and or so, three and a quarter years, let's say. And we're going to see something different. We're going to see even a different list of candidates. But for the moment, we've got a larger conversation between the two political parties here in the United States. Now, technically, there's more than that. Obviously, the libertarians, of which I used to be counted as one, A center left libertarian was what I was. And I'm a slightly more liberal Republican. Some people would consider me, but it doesn't that none of that really bothers me, right? Because I don't get hung up on that. Right now, the majority of the country is not aligned with a lot of the politics, and here's proof. Okay, here's the proof. The politics of the left are something that a lot of people are opting out of. Is that the right way to put it? Is that what you would like me to say? Um, the truth of the matter is, uh, and again, this is just observationally, let's say, um, nobody seems to be terribly aligned with where they used to be. It's all been shifted. It's been moved. It's been uh I don't know, bologna sausaged in its own unique kind of a way, maybe. I don't know. But I will share this with you. And again, this is a video from CNN.
I would just say that if you want a messenger to go against Donald Trump, you can do far better as Democrats than Kamala Harris. What are we talking about here? Well, let's take a look at her net favorable ratings nationwide. You know, back in October of 2024, she was at -5 points. Not exactly great, but pretty close to the zero mark, right? Pretty close to even. But now, down under she goes. She's at -13 points. That's an 8-point drop. Since the general election among the overall electorate, she is not well liked at this particular point. The American people, they don't want this.
The American people, they don't want this. I think that's kind of a nice way to say it. And look, he's sparing a lot of people's feelings, and he's focused in on Kamala Harris, but there are other numbers out there that I think we should focus in on. They're broader numbers. There are party specific numbers, and they're very different indeed. They've come around to the three key issues when it comes to all the demographics and everything else, and those numbers are, well, um, staggering, maybe at least to me. I found that this polling information from just a day ago kind of changed the ball game when it comes to this. It, it it's it's wild, for lack of a better way to put it. So let's take a look at this particular poll from our friends at CNN as well.
What do you think?
Yeah, what are we seeing? You know, Donald Trump being underwater, Democrats saying, oh, this guarantees us we're going to fly high in the midterms. Let me tell you, this guarantees you nothing, because at this particular point, the Democrats are the New Orleans Saints of political parties. What are we talking about? Trust the Dems or GOP more on the economy? Who leads on the economy? Republicans by 7. Immigration, Republicans by 13. How about crime, a big issue for Donald Trump and the Republicans? Look at that, lead by 22 points. So the bottom line is this. At this particular point, the ball may be on the ground, but the Democrats have not picked up the ball and running with it. If anything, at this particular point, it's the Republicans who are running with the ball on the top issues, the economy, immigration, and crime.
Now, those are the three top issues that I think most of us voted on to begin with. I think that there have been inroads made because this poll was this month. It just came out. So I have a feeling that it's going to continue to expand the differences. And look, you can look at the numbers. You can look at the YouGov poll, which is hysterical, putting Governor Gavin Newsom on top of JD Vance in the next election, which is likely the two candidates, at least at this moment. And I'm going to say they're not only those probably the likely candidates, they're also not going to finish that way. There is no way in God's green earth, simply if you look at the way that voter registration has been going, which is, essentially, as people are describing it, like a 2-to-1 issue, meaning that, well, you're getting two more than what the Democrats are pulling in if you're a Republican. But let's take a look at some super chats because I feel like I'm neglecting you guys, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that at all. So let's pop over here. We'll get back to that polling data in just a moment. I think it's important to have. It's important to talk about, but I think these super chats are as well. So back to it. We've got another lovely gift from our friend. Um, our friend Hillis Mallory for 5 Culture Casino Cash, saying, huh, looking at the title, you're just now finding out that what Kamala is. No, I'm pretty much sure I know. Um, and again, as I did in the description, I'll just say she's coming off as a bigot, and I have video that supports that. So I've been called a lot of names today from a lot of unusual places. Um, but I'm not without my facts and my information and direct correlations with video from, well, Kamala saying things herself. We'll get to that, but thank you for that, Hillis. I appreciate your support, my friend. You're always out there. We've got Lightning Sketch in the house as well, dropping a $5 Culture Casino Gifty as well. I love these. I love that they're tips now. Thank you to the current administration. Lightning Sketch says, isn't the fact that Demaro wishes to bring back the old park creatives to teach the current gen a positive sign? Well, yeah, I think you're right. I mean, that is a positive sign, but whether or not he gets his wishes, that's another conversation. But I definitely want to have this conversation, but we'll kick this one down the road just a little bit. All right, Lightning Sketch. Um, but you're right. It is a positive sign. Anything positive, I'm going to look on as a positive sign. Just Disney doesn't have any, and we'll get to Disney in a moment with the Kimmel stuff. I promise that is definitely going to show up here in the next 15 minutes to half an hour. But regardless, I want to get back to this polling data because it is so rampantly different than what a lot of people have as an expectation. C&D Designs have done the amazing, the impossible, adding 5 more Culture Casino memberships. That's right. Thank you for bringing in more higher tier Culturians and a higher status to fight the fight. I much appreciate that. 5 of you are amazing. And that brought in Mark Fields and many others who are regulars here in the chat. So thank you for that. And our friend Lightning Sketch Productions again says, my parents are strong leftists that can't stand the president and believe the narrative. And we don't see eye to eye, and it hurts. Yeah, I'm in the same position. While the vast majority of my family members that are thoughtful, and they also happen to have some kind of a religious belief system, they are well, they're right in line with what the administration's doing, trying to protect America and American lives and seek American exceptionalism. America first is the right thing. And anybody who doesn't want to make America great, I don't understand. I think that's foolhardy, especially if you live in this country. You should be making whatever country you're in great, which would include Canada. Um, make Canada great again. Make Poland great again. Make Germany great again. And for those of you in the UK, I love you. I really hope you guys find your own way to make Great Britain great again because you deserve it. You are a wonderful traditional country who has always managed to maintain your culture and your ideals, and those are being stolen out from underneath you in a disgusting way. And it's because you have Herr Starmer, who's always been a communist, that lied his way into office, much like Carney did in Canada, and the former premier of Canada was Castro's son. So you knew that was going to go bad. Anyway, let's keep going. We're going to get back to this particular video because there's more to share here, folks. We've got more to share on these 3 subject lines. And you know what? This lady here, you see this lady right here? She is making the sourest faces. She is so unhappy that this guy is wrecking her day. He's a terrible man, right? Because he's being honest with everybody. He's doing the numbers. You know what? Numbers don't lie unless you manipulate them. Which again, CNN, they brought in a guy that's apparently not manipulating the numbers, at least not in the direction that the CNN folks would like. Let's continue.
Give some context on this. Compare this when Republicans last took the House.
Yeah, let's compare it back to 2022. I think this kind of gives away the game right here. Okay, the GOP is more trusted than the Dems on the economy. It was 12 points in 2022. Slight decline in that lead, but still 7 points. How about immigration? It was Republicans by 3 back in 2022. Look at this. The Republican lead's actually gone up by 10 points. What are you doing, Democrats? My goodness gracious. And on crime, the Republicans were up by 13, and now they're up by 22, the lead again expanding by nearly double digits. So whatever Democrats are doing, it ain't working, Kate. It ain't working. Republicans have the lead on all 3 issues.
What's the reason that you are finding so far that's driving this?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's all about the center of the electorate, right? You win with independents, you win overall. And
you win because you have like more people voting for you, of course. But when you're looking at these numbers and that's just a big gap, +7, +13, +22. The crime thing is inarguable. Crime, especially in cities that are very, very, I'm going to use their word, the communist word, progressive. They're having a big problem. They are. And I'm telling you, people don't like crime. You know, you're not going to win over the hearts and minds of people in let's say, a city like Chicago, if you're just going to maintain the status quo, if you're going to absolutely prevent, help from arriving. If Pritzker doesn't want his state to thrive, that's okay. There will be somebody who will come along once enough people are frustrated to defeat the politicians that are giving you the status quo. Same thing in California, where they've done nothing but explode a population of homeless to over 160,000 in that state. The crazy thing about that stat is people who are unhoused, as the communists like to say, that's not a number that's been going down. We want people to be sheltered. That's what humanity wants. That's what the Republicans want. That's what we want. We talk about that all the time. We are charitable. We don't believe government's the answer. We believe that the charitable places like churches are. We know that the NGOs are corrupt and just most of that money goes everywhere but where it should go, kind of like the money for the Fire Aid concert that was held for Palisades, California. And since the majority of that money went to other bologna sausage, all the leftist causes that were no longer supported by U.S. aid, that's where we ended up. So anyway, let's get back to this video and go from there. I'll be quiet for a minute.
And what do we see right here among independents? Republicans still have a point lead on the economy. They got a 10-point lead on immigration. They got a 21-point lead on crime. The bottom line is, when you look at these numbers, Democrats should call their offices, because at this particular point, even if Republicans, or even if the public doesn't like what Donald Trump is doing, they ain't necessarily liking what Democrats are doing. And it ain't just a referendum on one party. You actually have to go out and beat that party. At this particular point, Democrats are not able to beat Republicans. They still
and again, this isn't as Donald Trump came into office. These are numbers from this month.
These are numbers from September of 2025. We still find that the Republicans leading on all 3 of these issues. And of course, this economy will be the key. If Democrats are going to win, they're going to have to likely win on the economy. At this particular point among independents, you see that 1-point lead for Republicans. And overall, at least according to the Washington Post, they hold a 7-point lead.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the economy. Do you know what'll fix the economy? Being able to buy things again. Do you know what's hard to buy right now? And I feel really bad for Gen Z. You can't buy a house. Houses have been priced out of your range. Even if you have your down payment and you could afford whatever the current interest rate is, it's terrible. So if the interest rates were allowed to come down, and by the way, the Fed actually admitted, that stupid ass Powell guy, sorry, I don't normally curse. That one slipped. I apologize. But that Maroon, the too late Powell, as Trump calls him, he was artificially holding back the adjustment to the interest rates because he was claiming inflation. He even claimed at one point in time, and then had to come clean, as I mentioned just a moment ago, that the tariffs were going to create inflation. He had to pull back on that. And by the way, inflation's not transient. And nobody in their right mind would say that, which is why everybody that's currently in the Fed, other than the people who've recently been replaced, need to be replaced because they've gotten it wrong every single time, and they put America in harm's way. The other thing that's putting us in harm's way, of course, is energy and green stuff. The green stuff, well, Trump came out and had a conversation about that today with the UN, and we will get to that in video form in just a minute. Let's see if we can grab some more supers. I want to say thank you to those of you who are contributing to the show, bringing more people in, like our good friend C&D Design. Thank you for that. And thank you for supporting my friend Jay, otherwise known as Drunk 3PL, one of my best pals that I love that guy. He's such a good man in every single way. And he's living the dream as far as his life goes. So not jealous at all. Happy for him. Very. We've got Lightning Sketch Productions once again saying, oh, wait, I think I got this one. I think I did. My parents are, I'm sorry about that, my friend, but I experienced the same process. So I understand. And then my good pal, the wrench himself, the master of mods, the mensch of wrenches. His name is Eric K. He's a good doobie, very much like Drunk 3PO. We are surrounded by the best of us, folks. And that's rare air. So enjoy it. But Eric K sends $2 to me to say, much love for this guy and the boss. Well, much love to you, my friend. I love it. I miss you. Can't wait to see you at the next meetup. I hope you guys are showing up to some of these because I think you're going to find you're missing out. But let's get back to the Kamala Harris conversation because I think that one is that's the one I think will kind of lead us into even more of this stuff. If you were going to try to get another candidate, let's say, into office, why would you go back to somebody who spent $2 billion reportedly? I think it was at least $1 billion. In fact, I know it was at least $1 billion, and all the dark money and everything else, and it couldn't put her in office. Is it because they were keeping an eye on the voting? They couldn't make things flood on command, or was it because she was a bad candidate? I'm going to tell you right now, she's not a good candidate. And I think that a lot of people have caught on. So let's get back to this particular video clip. Oops, wrong one. Sorry, guys. We'll have to do that again. Let me pull. You know what? I'll just pull it down. All right, there we go. And then I'll just share the window again. That I think is this one. Boom. There we go. All right. So let's continue from the 30-second point here. We got 18 more seconds to talk about just how far behind Kamala Harris is in as far as favorables. She was down 5 points in October, headed into the election, and at this moment, she's down 30.
They don't want her. And get this, she's 37 points underwater with independents. If you can't win independents, you can't win the election. And the bottom line is, with those in the center of the electorate, those who are the most up for grabs, she is way, way, way underwater. She is definitely swimming with the fishes. So that I would.
Well, and again, one of the reasons, and I'll just interject my thoughts here. Sorry about that. But when you look at this, the reason she's so far underwater with independents is got to be obvious to more people than just me. They're the ones that crossed the aisle in the first place to put the Trump administration in, because they didn't like what she was talking about with identitarian politics. They didn't like crime. They didn't like a number of illegals that were around. Or there's just nothing but negatives that she got on board with. She said she looked at every 80-20 issue and took the 20% side. She thought she was a legend that was going to overcome all of the bad issues. And that's the problem is right now with a certain political party, they're stuck like pandering to the extremes, right? I mean, the identity politics. We want a big scoop of that. When they're filling their plate, they're taking all the scoops from the 20% issues. Oh yeah, we definitely support crime. Yep, let's keep crime coming, right? Yeah. Let's get more illegal immigrants over here to vote illegal. Let's do that, and then let's give them all the social services first before we take care of our citizens. And look, when they say that all these people are going to lose Medicare, wait, you mean the people who illegally received benefits across the ocean in various different countries, especially throughout Europe, and of course all the people who came here illegally is eating up all those dollars as well. And you, American citizens, were placed last. So yeah, I think it's pretty easy to understand why there was some negative there. And I don't think I'm saying things that you haven't heard regurgitated by other people as well that have been talking about this for a while. Apparently now I can have these conversations and show this evidence, and maybe I won't be prevented from having reach because YouTube has decided that it's okay for us to speak. It's about time. It's about time. I hope you feel that way. I do. Once again, I want to say thank you. We have another super chat from one of our friends with, I think this is Norwegian kroner. It says, Black Men Kissing is the name of the account. My manhood hurts. There. I said it in a way that, you got a chance to mix in a bunch of stuff. Well done. Norwegian kroner it is for 20 Norwegian kroner, which I think is about $2. I'm not sure. But I do know this Pilgrim Media slides right in there. Thank you, Pilgrim Media. Much appreciate the $2 gift. Much appreciate. It says, why isn't Bondi releasing the hounds fell and rocked inside of corpse's shell? I don't know. To be fair, that's a little bit of Vincent Price from Thriller, although I did not sound like Vincent Price. But yeah, I don't know, my friend. It makes no sense to me. Right now they're fighting with a district attorney in an area, which I don't think they're going to do for much longer. This guy either needs to resign, which is one of his options, or get fired, or charge Letitia James with mortgage fraud. All the evidence is there. She committed mortgage fraud, which is the thing she was pursuing Donald Trump for. So if it's okay to charge Donald Trump for something that was non-existent, perhaps we can charge somebody for something that's existent, like an actual crime. That would be good, I think. I believe that a lot of politicians believe that they're untouchable. You look around with, all the insider trading that's been alleged and everything else. They don't think they don't think anybody can touch them or will pursue them for all their illegal activities. I don't think that's right. And I want to say thank you to Ruby Hoove for gifting a Culture Casino membership. The value of the membership is growing exponentially. So for those of you that don't have it, get it. Yeah, actually, the stream had a break on Rumble. I don't know why. I'm Robin Leach, and I don't know why. But yeah, I have plenty of signal. I have 1 gigabit. There's zero reason for it to hiccup at all. So just keep that in mind. All right, let's get cooking. Culture, get me on. Oh wait, get on your mic. Oh, okay, all right. Get on your mic. All right, I just got on it. Is that better? I'm not loud enough. I'll take door number 3. There you go. Mark says, oh, by the way, unlike a lot of streamers, guys, when you're here, you'll see me highlight chats, whether or not they're super chats or not, because I like a conversation. You guys are capable of really good conversations. So I liked Bondi's work in Florida, but I haven't been this disappointed in a woman since my last girlfriend. That's funny. Had to read it. And, I think a lot of people have that same sentiment. I'm disappointed. I really thought a lot more would get done. I'm still waiting on a list that I was promised during the campaign. In one of the few misses from the administration's campaign, promises made, promises delivered was kind of something that I got used to. When it comes to the bad guy and his co-conspirator lady who's in jail, who we could talk to, why has this not happened yet? Why not? Somebody tell me. I want to know. Eric K dropped money, said nothing for 5 Culture Casino cash. My brother, I can't wait to see you. By the way, if we have our meetup in Vegas, which I don't have any reason to believe we won't, we'll probably be the only people there. If you want a less crowded Vegas vacation, come join us at the meetup in Vegas when it happens. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be at MegaCon in Florida and that meetup, and then I'll be at one or both of the Texas meetups this year. I'm also going to go to the Smoky Mountain area. Number one, because I need to look at property to buy so I can move. But number two, and by the way, no state taxes. And number two, I hear tell there might be a meeting of the minds there as well. Although that may just be for creators, but I'm pretty stoked. I get to see Dolly at Dollywood, maybe. I get to have some cinnamon bread. You guys know what Dollywood has? Amazing stuff. All right, we got our good friend C&D Designs. Amazing. I'm still looking for designs, guys. So, I'm not soliciting C&D Designs, although I would. I will just say that I'm looking for artists because I'm looking for a hat that is a culture. That's me. And like one of those like silhouette face things, that everybody seems to have, and a bear. I'm looking for concepts around that because I want to put it on a hat, like my quarter black hat here, right? I got a quarter black hat. I got a G&G hat. I've got like a 11, like I got a Criticless hat, guys. Are you on Criticless? I am. I need to start doing more reviews over there. Of course, I've got this was designed by a fan for Nerdrotic. This is the Nerdrotic hat. I got a stack of hats, guys. And of course I do have the parrot hat, the multicolored parrot hat, which is actually, the logo here. So it is what it is. Anyway, my rooster hat, perhaps you want to call it that. We got our friend Brian and Cindy in the house. Good to see you. And you're not late. You're fine. Jonah Hex is out there. Look at all these amazing people. We are blessed. HM is Bondi sucked in Florida, and she sucks now. I think I'm kind of, well, first of all, I thought she was fine in Florida, but that's me. Okay. That was not living in Florida at the time. That was from a distance, right? But yeah. And again, when you live in places around the country, you're going to have different opinions of your politicians. So that's just the way it is. What else is happening? Yeah, I think everybody's on the list. I think somebody said that. I think they're right. And we, the North in the house, Pam wants to be an influencer, LOL. Well, I tell you what, Christy Nome is more of an influencer than she'll ever be. And the press secretary is an influencer and a very strong and wonderful lady. I like her a lot. I also like when things are happening, and we're going to go deeper on this Kamala Harris conversation. So please bear with me just a moment as I bring everything into line. But yeah, you missed Mike. Is Mike here? Is Mike here? All right. Well, Mike is here, but I got to go back to C&D Designs because guess what? I acknowledged him. Didn't read him. Let's read it. So it says, Culture, I'm trying my best to give Bondi some room, but the clock is ticking away. I think so too. I think we can only afford an ineffective person for 9 months. I think a year is too long. She should have already had everything lined up. She did not. She misled us. And I think that was her first fault, major fault. But the fact that nobody's in jail or in bracelets right now is also ridiculous. You have more than enough evidence. People are actually sending you the evidence. So yeah. So she needs to stop saying things are happening with no results. I agree with you. And you know what? For what it's worth, the guy that I think is amazing, Kash Patel. I thought he was going to be amazing. I thought Dan Bongino were going to be amazing, but they have yet to show me amazing. Outside of the quick apprehension of the criminal offender that executed Charlie Kirk, 72 hours. That's amazing. Yeah. And you know what? Low Spec is correct over on the Green Machine. It's been scam Blondie. I like that. It's a shame, but I think that sentiment is echoing through like my sphere. We probably heard, myself and maybe Pro and a few others kind of not feeling real good about it. I don't know if I haven't heard Valiant explicitly say it, but I would believe that he's a little disappointed. Our good friend Black Men Kissing, Norwegian Krona in the house, 20 of them, says there is no list. Things are not that simple. Man, um, that's quite possible. It's quite possible that there was no explicit list to begin with. It doesn't mean that there isn't a black book somewhere, or maybe somebody has it. It doesn't preclude the fact that there was a lot of evidence in both video and audio form, not to mention a lot of notes. There's definitely journals and flight logs that tell us who was where when. You have a lot of eyewitnesses and a lot of people that are a little bit scared to talk, especially after what happened to Miss Skyfree. Virginia never should have been in that position. And the story that was held up by that particular news anchor that was revealed on a hot mic and a recording that was never supposed to get out of the news agency. Yeah. Yeah. So what I believe is that there's not a formal list, sure. But I mean, there often isn't. As Scam just had a bunch of videotapes. Eventually, a list came out. There have been a lot of sting operations, and I look at this as a honeypot sting operation that nobody actually pulled the trigger on. They've just been using it as blackmail for a long time. Those are my perspectives. I'm not sure if you have the same, but I want to say thanks to everybody for your supers. Black Man Kissing again. I don't have a problem with your new username, my friend. For another 100 Norwegian krona. That's right. I always say it krona, but perhaps it is supposed to be crown. I just don't think that's right. I've never heard Andre pronounce it that way, so I'm just gonna stick with that pronunciation. He says so. But bro, my username aside, I don't have a problem with that. I'm a man of culture like yourself, of course, and you should check out the short. She was speeding 100 plus miles an hour. Later, thank me later. Indeed. I'm going to screenshot this so I can grab it later. Thank you, my friend. No, I don't have a problem with your username. Please don't misunderstand. Oftentimes creators get put into positions where they are led to say some things, and I am very careful. But I thank you, and we don't have a problem if you're worried about that, my friend. We don't. Anyway, I like to make that clear. I'm not a bigot. I'm not Kamala Harris, which we'll get to in just a second. Anyway, Hillis Mallory with 10 says, I think the list consists of more and clients and needs to be sorted out. Probably. Who had met dude who went to island, who went to on the rides, and who were the victims. Messy stuff. Oh, it is indeed. And look, I want to protect the victims, especially those that are trying to remain anonymous, right? But Florida got a lot of these people to talk on the record, and they got the guy convicted. How he got out so quickly and served so little time, and how he was able to go right back into business is disgusting to me. And I'm telling you right now, there's a reason that there's over a minute of missing tape that they don't want anybody to see. I'm just saying. Deeple asks, is this 5 p.m. stream going to be a somewhat consistent thing? On Tuesdays and Thursdays, I will probably have the same time frame. This podcast in particular is every Tuesday at the same time. So 5 p.m. Well, although that, again, we have a time shift coming up, and they might juggle some people's schedules, but that's my plan. And on Thursdays, except for this Thursday, because I have appointments to take care of, but this Thursday would be the show the podcast called um, uh, "How the Sausage is Made" or "How the Bologna Sausage is Made," or something similar to that effect will be the title. And that one I always have fun doing because it's always about the inside stuff that nobody really talks about with Hollywood and entertainment at large, which could include Disney. Because let me tell you, Lightning Sketch likes to talk about Disney, and a lot of y'all think I might have interesting perspectives on Disney, and I appreciate that. So I want to say thanks for that. I think I've made all the super chats have the heart emojis. I did. Okay, cool. All right, everybody's got their emojis. Let's get moving. We got more to talk about. I don't want to get stuck in the weeds too long, but I do, like I said, I do want to select the right things. I want to do the right thing. Do the right thing. Let's grab a tweet that was compiled by Colin Rugg, and I'm going to have to start here now. Rachel Madcow works 1 day a week on PMSNBC, or I guess it's now PMS Now, or it will be soon. Regardless, PMS Now. Oh no, it still says PMSNBC at the bottom. Okay, anyway, for now, that's what it is, not what it will be. Regardless, Rachel Madcow works 1 day a week on Monday. She gets paid a lot of money to do it, at least $20 million a year. By the way, that's good work if you can find it. I mean, she works what, like 50 weeks a year, maybe 48. She get four days off. I don't know. But when I look at this video, it tells me a lot. And it's a hard pill to swallow for the mad cow. Let's hear why.
I guess I'd ask you to just elaborate on that a little bit. It's hard to hear.
Yeah.
With you running as, you're the first woman elected vice president. You're a black woman and a South Asian woman elected to that high office, very nearly elected president. To say that he couldn't be on the ticket effectively because he was gay is hard to hear.
No. That's not what I said. That he couldn't be on the ticket because he is gay. My point, as I write in the book, is that I was clear that in 107 days, in one of the most hotly contested elections for President of the United States, against someone like Donald Trump who knows no floor, to be a black woman running for President of the United States and as a vice presidential running mate, a gay man, with the stakes being so high, it made me very sad, but I also realized it would be a real risk.
Okay, so look, and again, I am a center-left libertarian, or I was. I'm now considered conservative. How that happened, I don't know. I mean, there's definitely a sliding scale. The window slid a long, long way, right? They were pushing people out of the Overton window to try to clear out anybody who might even have a tendency towards logic. But I don't think that would have been the barrier. I think it was that Buttigieg was a very poor leader. He was very poor at doing his job. He didn't have a lot to tout, and he would have fallen into an even bigger hole with the identitarian problem. I'm not sure a lot of people could argue with me on that one, but that's exactly one of the things that would have happened. So but here's where she always goes wrong, right? She just said, well, that's not what I said, or that's not what I believe, or that's not why, except she just described exactly why. Because he was a gay man was why she wouldn't put him on the ticket. If you're trying to avoid this question, it's much simpler to say he would not have given us the best chance to win, and I needed somebody that gave us the best chance to win. And apparently, it was the Waltz guy, because I'm telling you right now, her husband, that Emoff dude with the Lionel Richie looking daughter, or not even that, Weird Al with the Weird Al looking daughter, that wasn't going to help you either. I would have kept him off the political stage completely, and the daughter as well. I would have just buried them because nobody knew you had a family to begin with. But at the same time, um, she kept making the same mistake. You have to couch it into the acceptable language. Now you only have to do that, um, if you're having a political answer. If the truth of the situation just is inconvenient, it clearly was because she just leaned right into it and said exactly what Rachel Madcow was worried about. Let's finish up the clip.
No matter how, I've been an advocate and an ally of the LGBT community my entire life. So it wasn't about, yeah, right. So it wasn't about any prejudice on my part, but
that
we had such a short period of time, and the stakes were so high. I think Pete is a phenomenal public servant. And I think America is and would be ready for that.
No, you didn't.
But when I had to make that decision with 2 weeks to go, and maybe I was being too cautious, I'll let our friends, we should all talk about that. Maybe I was. But that's the decision I made. And I, as with everything else in the book, I'm being very candid about that.
Yeah.
With a great deal of sadness about also the fact that it might have been a risk.
Wally Balls was not a good choice. No matter how many times you rewrite history, Kamala, that was a bad choice. He's a real problem. And even South Bend doesn't want Pete. Oh, I know. Gaslighting is correct, Weatherman. And I want to say thank you to Weatherman since he popped up here. Thank you for the gifty over on the green machine and to the person who got it. I think that's amazing. I think it went to Beja Kasai. Beja Kasai. Welcome to the green machine membership. Much appreciated. But look, I think Buttigieg was going to be a bad choice for anybody. I think he was a terrible. He was a transportation secretary, right? Under his watch, multiple terrible, awful things happened, and California managed to build even less of that high-speed train, of which the Trump administration grabbed $2.4 billion of, clawed it back because Gavin's wasting money like a sieve, and is looking to give it to somebody else, which is good because California wastes money. How long have they been trying to solve homeless? Weren't we supposed to have that solved like 3 or 4 times over under the Newsom? Yeah, how'd that work out? Not good. California added homeless people. They're sitting over 160,000. It's a small city worth of people. Oops, sorry. It's a small people. A small city worth of people that that's now homeless in California. California alone. I think the statistics are that of all of the homeless people, that either 1/4 or 1/3 of them reside in California. And then if you don't want to get me started on the actual numbers around mental illness and everything else. And the arguments made by some of the California schools, I think Stanford even did a study that, the homeless people there aren't mentally ill. It's like 70% aren't mentally ill. I'm like going, who's doing your numbers? Are these the social workers that you were going to turn into not police when you were, defunding the police? I have no patience for these people. It's like I have to reach down and try to find something. But it gets worse. And again, Kamala's not exactly a politically savvy person. She does have some skills. Ask Willie Brown. She does have some skills, but not to work inside this framework, honestly. Okay, so let's take a quick look at that. All right. This is the last share on Kamala Lala Ding Dong. Or at least I don't think I have more. I mean, I have some like-minded people that we're going to bring in. You're going to hear those videos and their comments, but this one I think you're going to enjoy. Um, I just I'm staggered. I'm flabbergasted every day by the silliness that we as American people have to deal with. So let's take a look at this. Let's see. The author of this said, "You can't make it up. This is a video courtesy of Greg Price." I always like to give credit if credit's available. But let's take a look at this as it fires up.
As a sort of talent spotter in the Democratic Party, what do you think of him and his candidacy? And what do you think of mainline Democratic shyness and agitation about the prospect that he's going to win?
Look, as far as I'm concerned, he's the Democratic nominee and he should be supported.
Do you endorse his candidacy?
I support the Democrat in the race, sure. But let me just say this.
Okay, the person that she just endorsed right there and said positive things about is the commie running in New York City. Momami, the communist. That's who she just stood behind. Right? What do you think about that? What do you think about that, folks? Are you super excited? Are you super excited about this woman getting behind the commie? The Democrats are turning into commies. Again, I said it before. I'm going to say it again for those of you who just showed up. Democrats now are defined by the most extreme of their party. They support the 20% of an 80-20 issue. Tim Pool's not wrong. Other thought leaders are not wrong. Benny Johnson's not wrong if you like him. Jeremy at D-Day Cobra, he's not wrong. These are people that are supporting the fringes. They're as far away from the mainstream as you can get. You're going to put a commie in charge of New York City. You're going to watch the greatest collapse of all time. I'm going to let her finish up.
He's not the only star. I know that, he's in New York, and I know New Yorkers think they're the center of the world, and here we are in New York having this interview.
It is the biggest city in the country.
And I love New York, as the saying goes. I really do. But, there are people like Barbara Drummond in Mobile, Alabama, Helena Moreno in New Orleans. They're all running for mayor, too, and they are stars. So I hope that we don't so over-index on New York City that we lose sight of the stars throughout our country who are right now running for mayor and many other offices, governor, and so on. So,
I've got a governor
that's where
for
I
you
am.
Guys.
We got a big tent.
You don't have a big tent.
And we got a lot of stars.
You don't have a big tent, and you don't have a lot of stars. You've got morons like Hakeem Jeffries. You got people like you who are going to cave to the most politically expeditious position that your people that fund you, like the George Soroses of the world, who I hope gets to catch a RICO case along with his son and the crazy lady that he married. Holy crap. And I'm just saying, this is not America. This is the indoctrination of America. And look, this is a person who is at the forefront trying to drive the indoctrination even further. Perfectly happy to use people as slave labor, though, when she was a DA, amongst her other positions, before somebody decided she would be a good vice president. I mean, it's not Bill Clinton that was going to be the president to Kamala Harris. I mean, we all know that guy's reputation. I'm going to get Arkansas-sided now. I know. It's crazy. This is crazy. Our good friend, my good friend, I should say, John Coleman is out in the chat. Good to see you. And many others as well. But somebody tell me I'm not crazy, right? I mean, facts, videos, I'm giving you all the stuff. I'm giving you all the good stuff. It's all the good stuff. I clip all these things. I grab all these things so I can use them on the show. X has become an indispensable platform for getting this stuff for me for these Tuesday shows. I'm going to run a montage as a little bit of a break here in just a moment, but those montages come about only because of access to clips like this. So between X and all the other platforms I use, I got access to this stuff. Anyway, John sent a super I wanted to say thank you for, so let's do it. John says, how is this a risk? We had Buchanan. Oh boy. Yeah. Lincoln and Obama. I am insulted. Also, lurker tax. Thank you, John. And that's the thing that bothers me, right? It's like, Kamala's not. No, there's no taste in this country for Kamala as a public servant again. And anybody who suggests she's the front or one of the leading candidates for president is just out of their mind. Speaking of out of their mind, which I am, I want to say thank you to the one and only Jedi Master. Lost in Space and Sci-Fi Classic says they've learned nothing from the 2024 election culture. You are so right. You are so right. Weatherman's on fire in the green machine, and the man who carries the membership upon his back, the great Tony Piacente. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the gifter of gifters for 5 more Culture Casino memberships, trying to single-handedly put me back up to 1,000 members. Can we get there, folks? We're going to get an update at the end of the week. We'll talk about it this coming Sunday. I will tell you where we are and where we want to be and how you can help us get there. For the price of a cup of coffee every day, you can be like Ruby Hoof and gift a Culture Casino membership. We get more Culturians up on the higher tiers so that you get member first videos. You get access to the Tuesday watch parties. So we do every other Tuesday, watching a great classic sci-fi comedy action film, something fun. And it gets you a chance to just hang out with us in our own little private space and chat. You should take advantage if you haven't already. So thank you very much, Tony Piacente, for 5 Culture Casino memberships. I love saying that name, just like I love saying Campione. Which, by the way, that journalist lady, I think over on Hollywood Reporter, she spells her name wrong. I don't care what anybody says. Probably doesn't even say it right, to be fair. On that note, I think I'm going to run the montage now. So stick around. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. This is kind of my interruption. And again, Ruby Hoof drops another Culture Casino membership. Look at that. 3 times today. She's helped grow the ranks of the Uber. See, I'm in trouble for that. Culturians. It's fine. Uber's just a great way to say super, ultimate, fantastic, ultra. All right, let's go. Let's run the clip so I don't get in trouble. Yeah. Boom.
We don't have a motive yet. We don't know yet. We're waiting. Obviously, we've heard what the governor's had to say, what the FBI director said today.
Come on, we don't have a motive yet.
We know.
We don't have a motive yet.
What's happening with?
Really, that's CNN's position.
I mean, from law enforcement,
he just happened to fire the gun in celebration. You can't tell the motive.
Senator, that's not what I said. And I said law enforcement hasn't laid out a direct motive. They've laid out a lot of evidence here of these messages and what
actually
the
they
shooter
have.
said
They've
to
said that
family
he was a
members
left-wing
and to
activist who
roommates.
hated Charlie Kirk. Pardon?
Senator, with all due respect, you know exactly what I'm saying. I'm not arguing with you politically. I'm saying that law enforcement has not put a specific motive. You know that there's a difference of what they're putting in a legal argument than what you're talking about. And you're not even we're not even arguing about the facts here.
What you just said is false,
Senator
Caitlin.
No.
Caitlin.
Governor Abbott just announced that over 100 teachers in Texas who celebrated Charlie Kirk's death, they are being fired. Their teaching certificate is being revoked by the state.
If you're so stupid enough to go against science, please unfollow me. Jeffrey, what happened to you as a consequence of that going viral?
So about 100,000 people have unfollowed me this week for speaking about Charlie, the entire thing. I can't believe so many people in America are cheering and praising his death. It's honestly disgusting. So while I was live streaming, I found out about what happened in real time, and it was so horrifying and devastating. I followed him for a few years. Do I agree with everything he's ever said? Of course I don't. But I loved a lot of what he said, and it resonates with me. But the good news is hundreds of thousands of more people have followed me, and they're on the exact same page. So I don't care about the following. It's not about that. I just had to speak my mind.
Oh, I did troll the shit out of the DDoS kid. That's a guy, that's one of the people, like, legitimately, like, I was so, you have no, like, it's actually kind of scary, like, how close I was to getting people together to go down to his house and kill him and his family. Or it would have just been him and his father. Because I didn't know anything about it. Dude, that was some of the most fucked up shit in my entire life. I was so fucking close to doing it. But I was making so much money on Twitch, and I don't know if Nathan was involved in yet, but for whatever reason, I decided that the current life I had wasn't worth the risk of... Oh my god. Oh my god, I was so close to this fucking address. I had fucking streets mapped out and fucking you have no fucking idea. That's when I first started getting an interest in like owning a weapon. I got a permit to own a gun and everything. Holy
Yeah, so like you see LA riots and then all of a sudden some guy comes by in a vehicle delivering a whole box of commercial grade gas masks. I mean, how does someone get that into the hands of rioters that fast? And does that come from Soros? I mean, tell us where it comes from.
Well, that's what we need to find out. I'm willing to bet a lot of it does come from Soros, because Soros in particular has perfected the dark money charade, the dark money shell game where they move it around through different entities you can't trace. But Jesse, you just think about these riots that began in LA, that they tried to then spread to other cities that Trump is now shutting down. All of them were planned. None of these were organic, and we know because they all followed the same playbook. Same thing on campuses. The last 2 years, all these campus so-called demonstrations, it's all AstroTurf. It's all fake because the Democrat Party today is a theater troupe.
What do you think?
Yeah, what are we seeing? You know, Donald Trump being underwater, Democrats saying, oh, this guarantees us we're going to fly high in the midterms. Let me tell you, this guarantees you nothing, because at this particular point, the Democrats are the New Orleans Saints of political parties. What are we talking about? Trust the Dems or GOP more on the economy? Who leads on the economy? Republicans by 7. Immigration, Republicans by 13. How about crime, a big issue for Donald Trump and the Republicans? Look at that, lead by...
And there you go. Yeah, you're going to start seeing these clips more and more frequently. You are going to start seeing, somebody asked in the chat, you are going to start seeing more Campione videos coming, so I can talk to the ladies. I'm telling you right now, we're on fire. These podcasts are all because of you. I'm having the most fun as a creator you could possibly have. I'm going to be hopefully dropping a video tomorrow. I'm going to be working with some of my friends. You're going to see a bunch of guests. Sundays are going to start to become like just kind of a collage of great people, and it's all because of you. People want to be here to do this. People want you to be here. And if you have not shared the stream, share the stream, share the dream. Go to all your favorite social platforms to get this out there. We should have, and we have normally, we would have over 300 people here right now. So let's try and ramp that up. We've got 170 or so, 180. 100, is that 186? 186 people across the platforms. Let's ramp this up. So share the stream, share the dream, help the channel grow. But for now, we got to move on. First of all, I want to say thank you again to Tony Piacente, one of the coolest names on the planet. And he says, this is funny. He says, you are one of the few people who say my last name right, Culture. You bet. And there's probably a reason for that. Consider my channel Campione Reacts might be one of the reasons why I say stuff right. But anyway, thanks again for the $5 super chat and for all your contributions in memberships, my friend. It's much appreciated. RNC actually jumped in because of Ruby Hoove. Ruby Hoove's on fire. I don't know. Between the two of you, I'm like every day blessed. And I count my blessings and say thank you. Thank you very much. All right, let's get back to the show. I want to get to this next bit. Because look, we were all talking about all the karma that was happening right after the events of Charlie Kirk's execution, his political assassination. I'm going to use the right words. So if that makes me unfriendly to advertisers, first of all, why? Using correct language that isn't offensive is probably something we really all need to be doing more consistently. I should probably stop using replacement words except for things that are like curse words. First of all, I don't like to curse on my channel. You guys all know that. It's not my thing. But when but when I'm like doing a show, I'm going to try to be even more plain spoken. I removed a bunch of filters already last year. Now, the filters are off. Outside of curse words, I don't know that I'm going to need to do it much more. If they're going to actually have free speech on YouTube when it comes to politics and things like that, so be it. And hopefully you appreciated that montage. Those I'm going to keep coming. So let's do this. Let's look at this crazy lady who, in the state of Florida, is a teacher, person that talks to young people, like is an advocate for stuff that indoctrinates kids into identitarianism that they may not possess. It's like Munchausen by proxy, except not. I mean, they're Munchausening like not their kids, right? It's not in their household. It's in their classroom. Anyway, this lady's crazy. Listen to what she has to say. I think I amped the volume on this clip, but let's see.
Hold on, let me get it together here. My name is Luna, activist teacher, and I teach 4th grade in Florida. It's already been such a hard year having to deal with everything that Ron DeSantis makes me do, like teach math. I am currently on administrative leave, and my principal has told me that I will most likely not be returning back to the classroom. All because I celebrated the murder of a misogynistic, racist, xenophobic fascist. Just to be clear, all I did was post a video where I was dancing and saying that he got what he deserved while pouring out a beer. I was also wearing a graphic t-shirt that depicted the moment that he died. And then I said his kids are better off without him. Really, really not that bad. And they're taking away my rights for free speech. And to think that I had at least 7 LGBTQ plus students in my classroom, and I know they need me.
7.
This is just so unfair.
All right. First and foremost, she's an activist. She says so. My name is Luna. I'm a tutor activist or some such, just complete garbage. And then she says that by being held accountable for what she celebrated, they're taking away her free speech. No, you can say whatever you want. You're still doing it. She's still on TikTok, the crazy platform. She's still over there. If I'm looking for, crazy reactions to relationships, men are bad, all that stuff, I go to TikTok, because all of the people who haven't thought about what they're saying, they all end up over there with huge followings. I've actually considered like starting a TikTok, but then I realized I would have crazy people on my case all the time. Maybe that's good. Maybe that helps build the channels. I don't know. But like Instagram to me is like just a bunch of thirst traps. I'm not looking for that. I'm not looking for that at all. We're in a very strange place, but people don't think they should be held responsible for their crazy. I'm held responsible for my crazy. Right? I could say a bunch of stuff. I have free speech, but say the wrong thing on this platform, peace out. Right? You don't have free speech. That's the thing she doesn't understand. You have free speech. You can say what you want, but you may not be able to do it on a platform, or it may have consequences with your job. If you are representing a business, like you're wearing your business shirt, right? You're going to get held responsible for it. She doesn't think she should. And now even more of people like her are going to be held responsible for their crazy stuff. Okay? You guys are probably going, what are you talking about, Culture? What is it you're referring to? Well, there is a lot of leadership in the state of Florida who are deciding that maybe we should be teaching accountability. I think that's probably a good thing. I think that if students see their teachers being held accountable for dumb stuff they say, maybe they won't repeat the same dumb stuff they say. Maybe they won't celebrate when a human life is lost because somebody didn't like the fact that they were talking. They were having a reasonable discourse with somebody else. They were having productive conversations that will lead to changing somebody's mind. Argentum says, I really wish I could use my name and face online, but I know I could lose my job for even making sense being on the conservative side. Yeah. If you're even perceived as being conservative, they're out for you, which is crazy. It's crazy. I'm going to tell you right now, and I didn't bring this story up, and it's maybe not something I'm going to talk about till probably Thursday night with Comics Division and everybody. But while we were all reacting to the tragedy that was Charlie Kirk's death, the state of California passed a law that's right in line with the UK's Safety Act garbage. And you know what? Come on over here, Gavin. You're an idiot. You are irresponsible. You waste money. You're incredibly corrupt. Your government structure is corrupt. You enable corruption. Come and get me. And while those were all opinion statements, you know what? There's a law now in California where I could be in trouble. That one's going to go down fast. You want to take away somebody's free speech at a time when they're arguing for the free speech of Jimmy Kimmel and not the fact that a company can fire you for being irresponsible, for being a knucklehead, for outright lying about critical events, misinforming the general public on a network. Disney bent the knee. We'll get to that in a minute. But regardless, there is now accountability here. Okay? And that's a good thing. There's, at least as far as the state of Florida is concerned. It does not diminish your speech, but it holds you to account for representing, well, the school district, for being responsible for young minds, and for not indoctrinating children into, well, bad places, for working outside of the curriculum, any of the other things. There is now a tool in Florida because of the Florida AG, Uttenmeyer, that allows you to report the crazy people. They made it simpler, easier. This was released at 4 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Florida AG launches public reporting tool today for teacher social media posts. Because of the crazy lady that I just showed you, right? People like her who celebrated the demise of a human being, they now have a reporting tool. By the way, she doesn't like to teach math. Did you hear that part of her statement? Anyway, let's take a look at this. So this is the Florida AG, Uttenmeyer, James Uttenmeyer, announced Monday that he was launching a new tool for members of the public to report acts. Oh, I guess this was yesterday. To report acts or threats of political violence, and teachers are squarely in the state's crosshairs. Well, yeah, over 100 teachers. The state of Texas alone had over 100 teachers that were reported within just a matter of a couple of days that are having their certifications in the state of Texas reviewed. That was part of the montage clip that I played a couple of minutes ago. This goes right for your certifications. Goodbye. You're done. So the idea of someone being assassinated for peaceably opposing radical ideals is vile and anti-American. The threats of political violence will not be tolerated in Florida. That is why today we are launching a new tool named the Combat Violent Extremism Portal to report acts or show more. Actually, they just gave the link. So that portal is live at myfloridalegal.com / it looks like CVE. It was a really interesting press conference. I watched it. I clipped the majority of it. I didn't think it would be good, stream stuff, but here it is. You can go find this yourself if you want to. But any educator who makes vile, despicable comments celebrating or encouraging violence in schools will be investigated and held accountable. The state's goal is to have the highest quality teachers. I think it's interesting. You can have free speech, but you don't get to keep your job. I think that's the message. And I think everybody should be aware of that. That's, that's one of the reasons why I say what I think, and I don't seem to have extremist thoughts. At least not any that anybody can point out to me. I think there's a chance it could be abused. I'm kind of worried about that. But if somebody's making those kinds of comments to students, and by the way, there's a reason why you can report these crazy people, especially if they work for a city, state, school district, whatever. There's a reason why you can report those people to OSHA, because they are creating an unsafe work environment, or they are encouraging an unsafe work environment. You can't be on board with that stuff, guys. It's not good. Or at least I don't think it's good. You might feel differently. Let's take a look at some of what you're saying. Our good friend Ruben is in the house. Ruben Christopher Haynes. What's up, buddy? Says, I'm going to break that bleeping law. I'm sorry, Ruben. Don't threaten any violence. Don't make any threats. Please. Oh, yeah, she was rocking that mask. I thought you would enjoy that. Yeah. Yeah. Of course, it had political slogans on it, looked like. I don't know. Tony Piacente again says she obviously wasn't a history or civics teacher, and she doesn't like to teach math. She's a fourth grade instructor, so it was general education would be my guess. I don't think Jay's seen that one yet. It's crazy. Helena J says that is unconstitutional. End up being kicked, just like the dumb law about boards must have a woman law he tried to do. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know any of that. I do know this, that if it's depending upon how it's written or how that tool is used, I think it's pretty easy to stay within the First Amendment side of things. Teachers can say what they want, but they can't encourage violence. Am I wrong? It's okay. Teachers can now tell their students, "Oh no, it's fine. You don't agree with somebody. It's okay to commit violence." You think? I just don't. Yeah, we'll have to see. I'm interested in that one. See, and this is great. Fun with collectibles is here. Collecting, excuse me. And I'm going to say this. This is a good question. What else does that teacher tell her students about her side of politics? Hopefully nothing. Unless you're teaching a civics class, you should not be talking. Your students should not know your relationship status, who you go to bed with, or any of those other things, because that's not what they're there to learn. If you deviate from curriculum, there's a problem. And again, I will fight for everybody's free speech. You definitely have the right to say what you want. But there's accountability tied to that I think we all need to understand. I don't know that that's arguable. Argentum says, and look, I don't look, I'm Cultured Casino here, right? And I'm getting, obviously, things are getting closer and closer to, everybody getting the name and all that. And at that point, it isn't going to matter. But, for now, everybody calls me Culture, CC, Campione, all those things. That's fine, right? But I there's a reason why you're anonymous. Is a reason to stay anonymous. And again, the identification garbage that they're trying to pull around the world because of crazy ladies like the misinformation crazy lady that they tried to push on us in the Biden administration. That's a problem. And look, I don't care what Australia wants. I don't care what the UK wants. As a U.S. citizen, I don't have to tell you jack all. And I'm not gonna. It violates privacy, and it creates a suspicion around free expression. It also creates a situation where they might interfere with not just free expression but free association. You can't do that. It's the same reason. I mean, there's 1,000 reasons to object over the digital currency. We should never succumb to that, or digital ID, which is also, in my opinion, illegal. But whatever. I think real ID is illegal if you want to get me started. I think if you want to travel internationally and there's a requirement that you have to have a passport to enter or exit the country, I think that's fine. Except I still think you don't need anything more than a birth certificate. But I guess a passport's better to carry around than a birth certificate. At least it can be canceled. But again, I understand why anonymous is there. And I think that's important. Yeah, you have a deal with the school district, even if I don't work for them. And that's the other thing. In Florida specifically, you sign a pledge to not do the things that these people are doing. So there's now a tool to report what they're doing. Not that I'm a big fan of that, but it's understandable. I want people to be reported for teaching outside the curriculum, critical theory, critical race theory. I think those people should immediately lose their job, especially in the state of Florida. That's just me. Yeah, the blue sky stuff, very bad. Very bad. A lot of people started using an app to scrub what they wrote on Blue Sky, and then they're all talking about moving over to Substack. Well, they'll get even less people paying attention to them over there. And Substack, even easier to track information on who, what, where, and why. Captain Sinbad says, Culture, are you from a faraway land? I'm from the land down under. No, I'm not, but that's a great song. Crazy stuff. Yeah, and I don't think we want people poisoning kids' minds. That's just me. Our good friend Commander Ed Straker of Shadow dropped some nickels at us. Thank you for the donation, my friend. 5 Culture Casino cash. Says new Cali law is a total waste of time. Yeah, Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals will say no. Besides First Amendment issues, I'm sure it will violate interstate commerce, etc. Yeah. And look, I mean, this is the other thing. We have something in place called full faith and credit, which is why your driver's license works not only in your state, but in the adjacent state. And the laws that govern your operation of a vehicle, for the most part, will revert back to, what common practices amongst all the states. You'll have people say, well, you can't drive your car here. You don't have a front license plate. Well, I don't normally drive my car here. I'm driving through your state en route here. We do not have a law that requires that. There's a lot of other stuff that goes along with that, but your license is good from one state to another for that reason, full faith and credit, which is why your marriage is valid in all states because of full faith and credit, which was where the problem showed up between states that were wanting to have same-sex marriage and states that weren't. Because of full faith and credit, if you were married in a different state that was okay with that at the time, it would have to count in the other state. I'm glad we got around that hurdle, but that's just me. Anyway, thank you, Commander Ed Straker of Shadows. Yeah, code of ethics is one of the things you sign. You also sign conduct. And again, you are not supposed to violate the code of conduct either. There's a lot of things that you sign when you are employed, especially by state agency or district. So I like making that plain and clear. So it's not really a First Amendment issue. I'm uncomfortable with it, but it is what it is. Fifth Avenuer. I think I got that right. No, Fifth Avenger. Excuse me. Sorry. Man, I got to clean my glasses. Saying hi to Bad Take Bojan. Good to see you, Tina. How you doing, dear? Man, I'm going to go over time. Guys, are you okay if I go long? Do you have to be somewhere immediately? I mean, I'm going to send you over to Toonie Town. I'm going to send you over to Marvin's show, but I don't even know what time that starts. So, but that's where you're going. Yeah, Scary Poppins, thank you. Trinoculus P remembers. So does Pepperidge Farms. Regardless, I thought that was important enough to talk about. But I need to talk about governor's races next. Look, I'm going all in. I'm going to talk politics one day a week. That's what the show's about. We're going to talk politics. We're going to talk about how some very bad decisions being made from some very crazy people are really affecting everybody's lives in a negative way. Those are elements of this show. Okay. So just be aware. I want to say thank you to the amazing Wild Man of Yavin for 10 Culture Casino cash. Thank you, Wild Man. You are much appreciated. Can we bring some of this accountability to the Fire Aid concert next? Dude, right at the beginning of the show, I was talking about the lack of accountability for Fire Aid and just how corrupt. I'm going to say it again. Hey, Gavin, you, in my opinion, are one of the most corrupt governors in California history. And that's saying a lot because you had Brown for a long time. You are unqualified to do what you do. You are a terrible human being. And I mean, that was proved during the course of the campaign. You are not only not qualified to be governor, you have a hard time being consistent in your own policies and policy enforcement. And you allow for all the others in your state to be just as corrupt as you are, including Mayor Bass. Yeah, lady, you're corrupt too. So is the fire department you operate, and so is everybody associated with the probably NGO that was the feature person for that fire aid thing that didn't give money to the people to rebuild their houses. No. It's you guys are trying to build and steal people's land for your low-income housing in a luxury area that people paid enormous amounts of money for. Anyway, you're all corrupt. Anyway, thank you, Wild Man Animal. I'll finish this up saying, and the corruption with where the $100 million went. $500K for mental health of musicians, $250K for teaching how to create a nonprofit, and many other things. It is disgusting what happened, Wild Man Yavin. And look, we should be outraged. We should be. I think Blue Sky, for those of you who've been talking about it in the chat, there's a lot of you. I think Blue Sky is going to get tied to somebody doing something ridiculous, and I think they're going to have a hard time not being held culpable. I think Discord is going to be in the same boat. It's going to be a lot of people in big trouble. Hey, it's Dude Broad Seth. What's up? Good to see you, man. Who else is out there? I know you're out there somewhere. Somewhere. Yeah, I'm going to go long, and I'm not even going to apologize at this point. Yeah, this is true. Plus, Gavin caught in Napa violating his own COVID requirements. Oh, yeah, he went to the French Laundry, which is basically $150 to $250 a plate kind of a place. Where, the average, where if you know what vintage and what wine you're having and whether or not it's decanted, you're not walking out of that place on a dinner for two outside of $700. And being somebody who's toured wine country more than a few times and been to some of these places, I will tell you, there's a lot of restaurants that will clean your wallet almost as effectively as Disney. And by the way, when it comes to Ukraine and the fact that people were being canceled for that on this platform, reportedly, I hope they get back soon. I hope they're back now. And look, I think everybody that was diminished in their reach because of something they said, and I think everybody that was canceled for what they said, especially involved in politics, need to be painfully for YouTube compensated. I think it should hurt. I think you should look back at a point in time when your slogan at Google was "Don't be evil," and solve that problem. Because you're very evil. You've been doing a lot of evil stuff. You're still doing evil stuff. Some of the things you're doing, taking people's data specifically, and how it's being used, and who you're selling it to, that's evil. Anyway, we got to get to this next story. It's very important. There's a governor's race. You guys probably know this in a lot of states, and one of them is kind of important in New Jersey, which used to be the Garden State. Now it's the smells like a trash dump state for the most part. And again, lack of quality leadership. Again, conversation for another time, maybe. But right now they have a lady that's Mikie Sherrill is her name. She's corrupt. And she doesn't know exactly how corrupt she is or how to answer a question about her corruption. You don't know what I'm talking about? Let's take a look at it, because I'm not just a little frustrated. I'm a lot frustrated. Let's see if you are too. There we go. Oh, by the way, this is on the communist show Charlemagne on the Breakfast Club.
So when Newsmax claims that you made $7 million from stock trades, what are they talking about?
Newsmax is, first of all, a very questionable organization that is paying multiple fines. I'm not sure what they're talking about.
Well, did you make $7 million in stock trades at all? Or?
I haven't. I don't believe I did, but I'd have to go see what that was alluding to. Again, what kind of came from.
So when Newsmax claims that you made $7 million from stock trades, what are they talking about?
Okay, so if you didn't hear it, Charlemagne asks a legitimate question, and then she deflects, and she deflects. She's like, well, Newsmax is a questionable organization. They're paying multiple fines. Again, a follow-up question to that, and again, I don't blame Charlemagne for not asking, is, well, who are those fines to, and what are they about? And then we're going to get back to whether or not you took $7 million or you had $7 million of insider trades. I mean, we can deal with these one at a time, lady, but you don't get to obfuscate or deflect. There are 1,000 follow-up questions. Right? It's really important to be factual these days and to ask questions to questionable responses, because that was obvious deflection, right? It's not just me. She's definitely hiding something. Deflection. Yeah. This is bad. right? I think so. Oh, this is a great statement. I like this from Shalon Daly. Thank you for being here. Says mental illness sucks. Wish that on no one. Oh, absolutely. No, no. I mean, and especially if you've had family members that have been stricken with anything that alters your mental state, dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, things that can change how your brain works. No good. Don't like that. I wouldn't wish that on anybody, even an enemy. Yeah, yeah, Helena, I think they are owed a check. I really do, Helena J. It's just one of those things. Oh, I got asked about the hat. Con lives in the house. Yeah, this is my quarter black hat. From Quarter Black Garrett. These are a rare commodity. If you get an opportunity to buy one, you should. The quality of the hat is top notch. I mean, this is up there with my my Deadpool hat. This thing is rocking awesome, right? Like, I mean, I like my Rebellion hat and I like my FNT hat. The FNT hats are also top tier quality, but you pay for that. So, and that's why when we have our company, Beach Punk. If you didn't know that, I have a apparel company called Beach Punk with comics division, and we have some people that work with us or work for us or work with us, I guess accurately, that make sure that we're getting out gear every once in a while, especially for the meetups. And so we'll bring like hats with us. They're not too expensive, but they're not cheap. And so when you get one of those hats, they're of high quality. So when you get a chance to buy it, buy it. If you're at a meetup and Garrett has these hats, get one because they're good. Um, you know, it's just a suggestion. Again, that normally that'd be in the description, but it's actually not in this particular description box. I just haven't been adding it, but I'll start adding the store for you to go and shop. Pretty soon it'll also be under my website, which is coming. I'm in the process of designing it. So the Culture Casino website is coming, and I'll also have like a members area set aside there, which will have an area for you to catch up on the watch parties and stuff like that if you're a member. So anyway, got to keep going. But like I said, this is a politician on the left confronted with a question that calls into question whether or not she's corrupt. She stammers. She fails. And she tries to misdirect. The answer would be no. I don't do any insider trading. No, I didn't have any inside knowledge on my investments. No, I didn't make an extra $7 million because I had access to information. Should be something you could answer easily. But no, I'll have to go and look it up. Is that the right response? I don't think so. And I don't think you guys think so either. But anyway, moving on from the governor or future governor, or hopefully not future governor of New Jersey. And I'm going to skip that one. Let's see how Miss Levitt, who I think is great, Caroline Levitt, handles a corrupt reporter. Corruption's everywhere, guys. It's fun. Asking your gotcha question, your framed question, your yellow journalism question, and then covering it in a yellow way. But we'll get to that in a minute. I want to jump on this, and I want to say thanks again to everybody for your gifties out there in the world. It's helping. We need to get as many members as we can. We are aiming back to that golden number I had at one point in time, 1,000 members. So let's move on from the question about Quarter Black Garrett's hat. All right. We're going to look at what Carolyn Levitt had to say Oops, and I still have the wrong thing shared. And this is from our friend Vigilant Fox, who captured this, and it's doing a great job out there as far as clips go, especially from press conferences. So here we are. Let's start. This is a 2-minute clip. We'll probably interrupt it at least once.
The case against Letitia James was extensively investigated for 5 months, and President Trump's handpicked Attorney General Eric Siebert could not find any evidence that he committed a crime. So is the president saying here it doesn't matter if there's a crime, he just wants his political enemies to be charged?
Well, let me just walk you through Letitia James. Letitia James completely abused her oath of office. Letitia James was actively and openly engaged in lawfare. You talk about weaponizing the Department of Justice. What was Letitia James's campaign slogan? It was prosecute Donald Trump. She was saying she was going to prosecute Donald Trump before she even knew if Donald Trump committed a crime, which of course we did not. Those are not the words of a serious prosecutor. Those are the words of a corrupt politician who is abusing their power. She actively campaigned on that. She also led the witch hunt, the financial fraud investigation against President Trump and the Trump Organization, and an appeals court tossed that case out, a $500 million civil fraud penalty in August, which was another win for the president, and exonerated him of this witch hunt and showed that this is an individual who is corrupt and abused her oath of office. And we also have evidence of her mortgage fraud. An April report from a white-collar fraud investigator found that there was documented evidence that James engaged in a consistent pattern of financial and property disclosures that raise serious legal questions.
Okay, serious legal questions. Yeah. Well, but they're not just legal questions. She broke the law. I mean, it's provable. The fact that this DA doesn't want to get it dragged into this case talks about the DA. Siebert maybe is the wrong guy for the job. Maybe this was a bad choice by the president. I don't know. I'm sick and tired of them twisting things around and structuring their questions in ways for, weaseling out of situations. Caroline's correct. A corrupt person would run on the idea of, charge Donald Trump. That doesn't seem like much of a slogan, but I mean, maybe it works. I would be running on a slogan right now. Charge the criminals. Prosecute criminals. That's just me. I don't know. Let's finish this up. It's only another 40 seconds or so.
So why won't the president accept the conclusions of his Justice Department to not bring charges against Letitia James? In fact, you had Bondi and Blanche top DOJ leadership who were against ousting Eric Siebert, who again was picked by President Trump.
I just answered that question for you, and the president has every right to express how he feels about these people who literally campaigned on trying to put him in jail, who literally tried to ruin his life and ruin his businesses, and he wants to see accountability for those who abuse their office and abuse their power. And Letitia James absolutely did that, whether you want to admit it or not.
Whether you want to admit it or not. What I love about this is she does something that I probably wouldn't do. I wouldn't answer the same question 1,000 times. I would say I've made statements. I've made statements and answered to questions such as the one you posed, and you can go and look at those. And she doesn't do she doesn't often do this, but she should more often say, I don't grant your premise. This is what happened. These are the facts, and just break it down for the idiot reporters. Because either they are idiots or they're being willfully ignorant of the facts on the ground. There's a lot more patience there than I would have. The patience of a saint. She's one of the most professional public speakers, press secretaries we've had in a long time. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the little redheaded girl was a disaster. And the lady that looked like anyway, the lady that came in afterwards, I'm not going to go after her appearance, despite the ridiculous hairstyle she had, but she was not only ill prepared, she lied all the time. She was constantly caught in lies. And she really didn't like that guy from Fox, did she? No. Anyway. Our good friend Weatherman drops a Rumble Rant for $1 says, still waiting for the silhouette of culture with a saying of "I'm cultured" on a hoodie or a cap. I tell you what, I will work with the design team on that, because I think I'd like to wear that occasionally, like as we get closer to winter. I would love that. I would love to wear that. That'd be a lot of fun. So I should be wearing a dark long sleeve black shirt right now, but this one is so comfortable I wasn't going to change. So who else is out there? Snakes and Funerals. What's up, Snakes? Says New Jersey is only smelly near the border with New York. It's true. But you know what? It's the one place where you can't light the river on fire. At least I don't think you can yet. Used to be able to do that in Cleveland. The Cuyahoga River rolling into Cleveland to the lake. Roll on, big river. Evil is as evil does. Very true, Tony. Very true, my friend. I. That's right. Mark Daly says, I worked 2 hurricanes in Jersey. Did you really? Man, that had to be weird. And the outside had to be hard to adjust for, I would imagine, because because of the area. Especially with the differential in costs. There are going to be a difference in what's expensive, what's not, versus down south where it's more frequent to have hurricanes. It's wild. I would kind of wonder what that would look like. I'm sure there's tables for everything, like actuarials and stuff, but hey. Very strange. Da, da, da. Snakes is like, I want a hat like that. A lot of people do. A lot of people do. Am I Knuff? I don't know, but you can get your Knuff gear at our one of our other actual independent store that we have. That one's in the link in the description as well. So yeah, it does. You know what? It does remind me of somebody said this hat reminds of a Indians hat, very much so. I just sang the Indians song from a wonderful baseball movie, Major League. Corruption is fun. That's right. At least it's fun to call out anyway. Yeah, get him, Caroline. That's right. Born in Boston. You gotta love it. And I gotta love that Boston spirit. It's amazing. But no, honestly, she's just really good at her job. I mean, we've had a lot of very bad press secretaries, but look, I already brought this up in the chat. Now, I do want to tell you that sometimes they do the right thing in Washington. Jim Jordan is somebody who's always trying to do the right thing. He's the chairman of the of oversight and other stuff. I mean, this guy is a monster in Washington, and he's the one that kind of pushed Google to admit that they censorshiped under Biden. They promised to end bans of YouTube accounts for thousands of Americans, and that they censored for political speech or anything that was revelatory about certain things that were complete lies from the government. I hope they give Dr. Malone a giant pile of money. In fact, I believe that if you did anything to negate reach for any channel because of things that you are being instructed to do around any kind of censorship, you should have to provide every one of those creators a painful sized big bag of money. That's just me. I'm not the only one. I mean, clearly they owe everybody that affected damages. Again, it has to be so painful to rebound from this that no other company will ever do it again. Right? From the House Judiciary. Yeah. Yeah. Because we knew they were doing it. We talked about it. We talked about it. I think Hillis Mallory sent a super chat. Let's see if we can grab that real quick. Hillis Mallory for another 2 Culture Casino Cash says that school teacher is like Barbie. Math is hard. Yeah. Yeah, that video clip is still crazy. We had a lot of crazy today. I decided to bring you all. And you know what? Normally we'd be ending now, but we're not. We're not going anywhere. I'm still going to send you to go check out that Marvin Puppet guy. He's a good writer too. But I'm still going to send you over there because, well, we need to support our friends. But I still have a clip or two I want to drag out here. One specifically that disgusts me. I'm about to create anger. Not on purpose, but because we should be rightfully and righteously angry at what's happening in the UK and what continues to happen and where it kind of was starting to be revealed. Because believe it or not, the post I'm going to show you, the clip I'm going to show you is a little bit older than yesterday, but not older than a year ago. A little bit of a flashback to just how broken the UK is, just how anti-Semitic the government is. Oh, did I get your attention? Anti-Semitism in the UK? They're not going to like this. They're going to try to censor me. Maybe they'll come to my house and I will tell their worthless bobbies to bounce. You have no authority here. Remember when they threatened Americans with that? We're like, no. Try and touch me. Yeah, that's a bad plan. All right, let's take a look at this. This kind of blew my mind. With the fact that this still exists in the world. More importantly, it exists in one of the most civilized, or I should say formerly most civilized, until they allowed for hundreds of thousands of invaders to come in without paying penalty and or being deported like they should have been, that are being enabled by the existing government, especially in London, where you no longer, by the way, you guys don't look British anymore. You don't sound British anymore. What happened? I'm going to show you what happened. Here is a video clip. This should disgust you. I shared this with Pro earlier today. He played it as well. Here we go.
You are quite openly Jewish. This is a pro-Palestinian march. Right. I'm not accusing you of anything, but I'm worried about the reaction to it now. You've been escorted out of this area so you can go about your business, go where you like freely, or if you choose to remain here, because you are for the reach of these other people.
They're claiming, because he's wearing his yarmulke, or both of them were wearing their yarmulke, that they are causing trouble at a pro-Palestinian march. Because they are wearing their yarmulke. Well, you're wearing a police hat, douche. You're causing trouble. You're alienating the public. This is infuriating, especially for somebody like me. You do this in the States? You try to pull this garbage in the States? You're going to have a new police commissioner pretty dang soon. If I remain here, you'll arrest me. Because of the violence that we caused by these people who are marching in support of violence.
Watching your movement.
You're going to get arrested.
That's right. That's right. We're all going to watch your movement and record you. Wait. No, the police ain't going to help you in this scenario. You
The police ain't going to help you. No. These people can be violent. We're going to support their violence. You have to walk around. You have to go somewhere else. You have to go about your business. Are they wearing a bunch of garb that supports their religion? Are they waving flags around that makes him uncomfortable? Give me strength. Give me strength. This is not okay, guys. I know you know that. I know you know that. But the UK and their leadership structure, the people in charge are anti-Semitic. You don't know how long, maybe that guy's a British citizen. Maybe he's been there, was born there. He was there his whole life. And you're supporting these foreigners, these invaders, these people that support harm. Everybody has a right to religious freedom, in my opinion. This is ridiculous. And you know what? Awesome One points out that Trump said in the UN today, in the General Assembly, that the UK is under Sharia law. And in a lot of ways, they are. And I'm going to tell you right now, you cannot have a theocracy exist in any form of representative government. That doesn't jive. It doesn't work. It's going to lead to a severe conflict, and it's going to be very ugly. And at what point do you believe that the authorities, the establishment, the cops, that crappy little mayor, Sadiq Khan, who's a complete garbage peddler, how are you going to believe they're going to stand behind the British citizens, the British public? They're not. They won't stand with them. They're going to stand with the invaders. They're going to give money to the invaders, tax money. It's not like the UK is rolling in dough anymore. They have a massive wealth disparity. You think we've got it bad here? Do you know how much they pay for energy because of the green policy garbage? I don't tolerate racism in my chat. I don't tolerate racism in my daily life. And I definitely don't tolerate anti-Semitism. And if you're Muslim, you know we're good. Assalamu alaikum, my friends. But at the same time, I don't tolerate the nonsense. And I really don't tolerate the UK government right now. Look, Trump came right out today, and in a video clip I didn't grab because it was too long, President Trump to the UN General Assembly told them their green garbage is exactly that. And we have no interest in supporting the transition of power to a serf and kingdom structure that they're trying to push with this globalist garbage. Trump said, we're not going to support this fraud any longer. And I really wish he would wake up and pay darn close attention to BlackRock and all the institutional investment houses that are trying to force change into a commie situation. You will own nothing and you will be happy. That's the Marxist mindset. And it's got to stop. All right. Last thing, and again, you should watch that speech that Trump made, not only complaining about the teleprompters, which was hysterical, but also about the escalator. Because despite the fact that that building is there, the UN doesn't do anything to care for it. As a matter of fact, they don't do anything productive at all. The UN should be eliminated, at least their military forces. There is zero reason for a body that's supposed to be about conversing about world troubles should have a military. They shouldn't have the ability to do peacekeeping. If somebody wants to be that involved, they need to march their little tiny butts in there with their own armies. And if places around the world want to tear themselves apart, so be it. We cannot be the world's police. And if you want to be, go. We're not going to do it anymore. And they embezzle our money is 100% right. Dude, Brosef. We shouldn't be on the hook for defending anybody. Right now, I have little use for NATO. NATO's helped redistribute U.S. wealth for what, the last 40 years? My entire lifetime. That's all they've done. They redistribute our money to themselves. They enrich themselves. Or, like with the Ukraine conflict, which has been proven in many ways, that money came back to the States to put money in the pockets of very corrupt politicians. We got to stop it. We got to stop it. All right, last story. Like I said, I promise this will be it, and then we'll go on. I'll run the outro, and you guys can be sent off to other places with more entertaining information, probably. Something more fun, and you deserve it. But every Tuesday, for this podcast, we're going to talk plain. We're going to talk honest, and we're going to have evidence and support. That's what we're going to do. Hey, Tobak. Why am I streaming while the West Coasters are at work? I don't have a choice, my friend. This is the only time of day I've got. And I'm going to be taking on even more responsibility so I can help out some of my peers, because that's what I do. Let's take a look at this last thing, and then we can get there. We can get there. Well, I'm not going to be irritated with the UK right now, but I'm going to kind of laugh. Because as you have probably heard, Jimmy Kimmel is coming back tonight. Or this evening, this afternoon. Depends on where you live in this beautiful country of ours or where you are around the globe. Could be this afternoon. And if you're one of the few people that decided to keep Disney minus for some reason, I don't know what it is, because they don't have anything worth watching. And they don't make new stuff anymore. They don't make anything good anymore. Maybe you're just in there so you can catch the movies you're not going to see in theaters. Maybe. But Disney minus is a waste of your time and your money. In fact, most of the streaming services are these days. They stopped making good things or acquiring good things because the model changed, because Hollywood got greedy and stupid. And that usually leads to disaster, which it did and does and is. So let's take a look at the fact that Kimmel's back. The problem is there's going to be 61 plus stations that are not going to be airing Kimmel. The affiliates, controlled by Sinclair Media, decided they weren't going to have Kimmel on tonight, or maybe ever again, without some severe changes to this guy's routine and an apology. Nexstar just continued where they left off as well. They're not going to carry Jimmy Kimmel. They want a full-throated apology. They want to know what this guy's going to do in the future. And unlike Disney, who gave him carte blanche to say whatever he wanted to say tonight, there's a good chance we're going to get a double down on the same hateful garbage that he peddles every time. Hollywood Reporter tried to paint this fella as the most important late night host, despite being, I believe, in third place. Maybe he's in second. I don't know. But he hasn't done better than 1.1 million total viewers. Most of them are 752 years old. Sorry, that's just the way demographics break out. It's an older audience. Most late night shows are. But this guy only drew 129,000 people in the demo. And that's being a very generous demo of 18 to 54. Technically, Should be 24 to 54. But it is what it is. And it's not even the old demographic that they used to aim for, which was even younger, more narrow. If they actually tried to get young people involved in the demographics, the numbers would be zero. Because they don't exist. Because over time, television did not have anything to offer younger people. They didn't have a good comprehension of what pop culture was because they kept the older demographic in mind all the time. Same thing across all of television. The only ones that are doing well would be CBS because everybody there is 1,000. Okay, they're not that old, but they're old. I use hyperbole for effect, by the way. Some people don't understand that. I think it should be perfectly clear, which is why I've always gone into the absurdium aspect of hyperbole. So I guess that doesn't land with people that, don't have the capacity to understand it. But according to this particular statement from Nick Sorter, Nexstar, the largest ABC affiliate group, is refusing to air Jimmy Kimmel on their networks. That means over 60 ABC stations will not be airing Kimmel. We don't know if Tenga is going to join them because, as Weatherman points out in the Green Machine chat, in case you didn't know, Nexstar is in the process of buying Tenga Group for $6.2 billion. That's billion with a B. Billions. So, 60 stations. Tenga may decide, yeah, we're going to jump on this crazy train. Do you imagine if the three top affiliate groups tell Disney, ABC specifically, to pound sand? He was expected to get an enormous bump tonight, and he would have had these affiliates been airing the program. But here's what most people don't understand. Hang on a second. Sorry, I've been talking for 2 hours. Here's what most people don't understand. Disney only owns 8 affiliates, which means there's only 8 stations that the FCC could even take the licenses away from. What's interesting about this is that the affiliates are all over the place, and they're in great markets. They control these affiliate groups own some great markets with lots of people that watch television over the air. But you're going to take a quarter of the total affiliates out of play. Again, if Tenga joins them, holy crap. Over 60 ABC stations are not going to air Kimmel. He's not going to get the giant bounce that he could have gotten if he would have just given everybody an apology and said, I'm an idiot. Nobody would argue with him. We all know he's an idiot. You know he's an idiot. You know he's an idiot. All of you know he's an idiot. But that's what's going to happen. Anyway, so they basically said they're sticking to their position. They said, we made a decision last week to preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live following that what ABC referred to as Mr. Kimmel's ill-timed and insensitive comments at a critical time in our national discourse. We stand by that decision pending assurance that all parties are committed to fostering an environment of respectful, constructive dialogue in the markets that we serve. Can't get more clear than that. Yeah, Nexstar owns 32 stations, Sinclair owns 29, and Tenga owns like another I think it's 61 stations in total between those two, and I think there's another 20 some out there. Tenga owns 24. Tenga is making a deal with Nexstar, again, for $6.2 billion, which is going to complete at the end of this month, or at least the paperwork will be filed. So it will be a fait accompli. It may take until the beginning of next year to actually be formalized completely. But essentially, it's the same. It'll become the same company with the same mindset. So, in the meantime, we note that Jimmy Kimmel Live will be available nationwide on multiple Disney-owned streaming products, while our stations will focus on continuing to produce local news and other programming relevant to their respective markets. Local news is going to do great. Having extended newscasts, giving the people that you hired to be talent, giving them an opportunity to do better and bigger, it's quite possible it could replace the show forever, and then Disney's really screwed. How long do you think it'll take for ABC specifically to alienate these affiliate groups completely from their branding? Is somebody else going to want to show ABC programming? What if Nexstar falls out of love with Disney? Right? I mean, you don't have to have all four big networks in your market. There are lots of places around the country that, don't have a Fox station. This used to be valuable territory, but Disney's kind of making a mockery of it. You have chosen poorly. Yeah, this is funny. From Renee. ABC, Disney, traders, alt-left, indeed. You could say all those things. But Jimmy on Roseanne Barr's tweet, mind you, remember, Roseanne Barr's tweet was an offensive joke, but she apologized for it. And ABC, to their credit, didn't waste any time. This is, by the way, this is Jimmy Kimmel saying this. And ABC, to their credit, didn't waste any time. They canceled her show today. I'm not a fan of censorship, but this wasn't about free speech. It was about consequences for saying something vile. You mean like the vile lie that you're telling, Jimmy? You piece of garbage? You can say what you want, but networks don't have to pay you to say it. Yeah, which was our whole point about you being run off the air to begin with. And, well, Disney had to bend the knee because they have a really important charity event at their house. This women's charity thing, sponsored by the Department of Journalism at USC, which happens to be run by Robert Iger's wife, Willow Bay, who, former broadcaster of limited quality, along with Bob's own terrible news prediction, because Bob Iger was a weatherman. So when you look at why Disney failed, pretenders upon pretenders. A non-expert trying to pretend he knew what the weather was going to be tomorrow. He can't even predict the weather for his own company. Actions have consequences, according to Jimmy Kimmel, and ABC made the right call. He said that on May 29th of 2018, and ABC made the wrong call yesterday. Those are my thoughts on the events of the day. And I want to say thank you for being here. We're going to do a last minute conversation with each and every one of you. Remember, this particular podcast show is every Tuesday. Thank you for your attention to this matter, the podcast. And it's not without your help that I can put it on every week. So I will see you with this show next Tuesday, unless we have to have a bonus edition tomorrow, which we did last week. And on Thursday, I will see you here for how the bologna sausage is made, which I still think is kind of a fun show to show you all the behind the scenes stuff that's happening in entertainment. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate each and every one of you. And for those of you who did not share the stream, share the dream, please do so now. It's possible somebody can watch this on the replay and say #ReplayGang. It's good to see Mike Beats Ducks out there, along with Awesome One, Argenta, Monkey Jeebus, who's amazing, and so many more. You guys really do make the show special. Randy Thodo, thank you for participating. It's great to see you. And Juliet, thank you for being the amazing wrench you always are. We got one last super chat coming in from Australia, because we are a global show. We are the global the global opinion maker, the global news source. I'm going to become the global news source. You can't stop me. Ask Awesome One. It's coming. But we've got a wonderful super chat from a good friend all the way from Australia. Hemorrhoid Hurts says, and I quote, for an Australian $2, which is like 15 cents. Thank you. I'm just kidding. I'm not downing on the money. I just thought that was funny to say. He says, live stream timing works great for me. Well, I'm glad. And I appreciate you being here. I appreciate, as I said before, all of you. Because the show wouldn't happen without each and every one of you. All right, folks. Yeah. So according to Tobach, there are 250 ABC stations worldwide. Nexstar, Sinclair, and Tegna make up 85 of those stations. This is true. So of those 250 stations, 85 stations pull a majority of the views during his time slot, and they're not going to be airing his slot. They'll be airing something else better, more engaging, safer, more honest, less lying. Sounds good to me. On that note, I'll just say this, as I always do. Be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, wash your hands because it's good hygiene, keep you from getting the cold and flu since we're headed into winter. And until next time, get your AOs ready because here we go.
Yeah. Sometimes I get so mad, there's no controlling me. My thoughts get so bad, I'm like, I might grab a bat, I don't know. My wrath, my blood boils over like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me fucked up, let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough. I'll take a face full of pavement just to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll play it on your face to make you go take it back. I'll lose my shit, I go crazy when I'm mad. And now you go wish you would shut the fuck up real bad. And now that I'm gone, yeah, I know there's no turning back. And now that I'm gone, yeah, I know there's no turning back. I don't fucking take smoke, I'ma poke a hole through you. Choking's overdue. Come at me and you won't get any older, dude. Crack your holder too. Heating up inside of me, blood so violently. Thanks for trying me. Now it's finally time to see how this rivalry becomes a dynasty.